Bespoke radio for the masses.
Headline edition, July 8, 1947. The Army Air Forces has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army.
If the game is rigged, change the game. Game changer.
I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
This is Fade to Black with your host, Jimmy Church, on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
I need your help to get to the year 1985.
You're listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Network.
Hey now, how you doing? How you doing? This is Fade to Black. Bespoke radio for the masses. Today's Wednesday, November 23rd, 328 days into the new year, just 38 days left. I would like to welcome everybody listening all around the world, all across the United States. Hither and thither, to and fro, back and forth, up and down, east and west, north and south, far and near. This is Fade to Black. For KJCR, the Game Changer Network, and KGRA, the Planets. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. What is cracking, everybody? Let's go. It is Wednesday. You almost thought I was going to say Thursday, didn't you? I can understand, because tonight is going to be a FADERNIGHT special event. It is FADERNIGHT with Jon Rappoport and his No More Fake Newsroom. Yes. But also, Jon is going to co-host with me all night long, taking your phone calls. Happy Thanksgiving. It's our little gift to you. You get to hang out. When was the last time you talked to Jon? The answer is never. Never. You haven't. So there you go. So Jon's going to be in here. We're going to take phone calls all night long. I am totally excited about this because this is something that we've had planned for quite a while. And we just thought that it was the right thing to do, because Jon comes in here every single Thursday, gives his very best for 30 minutes, and then we turn around and kick him out. And you guys keep talking about him. You have questions. He's gone, man. He's out. You know, but when he checks out of here, I guarantee you, Martini is being mixed. He's done, but not tonight. Tonight, on the eve of Thanksgiving, one of our favorite and great holidays of the year, Jon is going to come in and hang out with all of us tonight. So there you go. I am totally excited about this. I haven't sat. Jon and I talk a lot on the phone, but we talk about other stuff. We don't talk about the show. We don't talk about stuff. We talk about family and life and food and the new roof on his house. We talk about stuff like that. And I have questions just like you do. So tonight we're going to do all of that. And we are going to do his Living in the Matrix. Okay, so that'll be at the bottom of the hour, and then we'll kick off the phones at the top of the hour. All right, so happy Thanksgiving, everybody. I hope that you guys are all ready for tomorrow. It's such a great day for all of us. And look, and if there are some out there that are listening that don't have a place to go tomorrow, or maybe they live out away from their family and stuff, or maybe they prefer to spend it alone. There's that too as well. And I get that. And you're listening to me ramble, and I don't want you to be bummed out. If you've got your own way of doing Thanksgiving, cool. If you want to spend it alone, cool. If you are forced into spending it alone, then there you go. My thoughts are with you. Call in tonight. Hang out with us. Tell us what you're doing. And I have a big fondness for food. So when you call in tonight, if you guys are cooking some crazy dish, if you guys do something different for Thanksgiving, I know. I have been, over the years, been over to friends' house. We don't do turkey. What do you do? Lasagna? All right. I'm down for that. We don't do turkey. We do ham sandwiches. All right. Okay. If that's what you do, I'm down with that. It's just about hanging out. Okay. So that's what we're going to do tonight. We're going to hang out with Jon Rappoport. We, over at the house, I'm just going to tell you now, we are going hardcore straight up. Okay? Hardcore straight up. So we're doing a completely brined and prepared turkey. Not as big. In years gone past, we've gone 25, 30 pound, big jumbo birds. We're going a little more gourmet style this year. So it's a little bit smaller of a bird. We're going to do a 20-pounder, a little younger. So we're doing that, but it is brined and prepped. And we're doing a full-on ham, with the glaze and the pineapples. So we're doing that. String bean casserole, which is a celebrity chef. I'm not going to say who. And maybe tomorrow I'll let Rita. But a modified version of his recipe. And that is it. And you know how Rita does it. So it's all exotic. It's all exotic and modified. So we're doing that. Of course, homemade cranberry sauce. Homemade cranberries in the pan, brought back, done. Mashed taters, doing mashed taters. What else is on the plate? Asparagus and mac and cheese. So there you go. And then, of course, cornbread. And drinks are drinks. Use your imagination there. And then for dessert, I don't know how to explain this, but it's like a graham cracker torte with fresh cream. It's like that. It's hard to explain, but that's our dessert. No pumpkin pie this year. That's the only thing that we're doing off of the list. All right, so that's what we're doing now, and there you go. Tomorrow's Thanksgiving, and please come and hang out with all of us tonight. And if you are here tonight listening to this show, that means you are probably smelling food around the house, and it's and hopefully you're off work tomorrow, and you are if you work at Costco. Costco's closed tomorrow. And you're off work, and you get to spend it tonight with us. So welcome, and thank you. All right. Follow me on Twitter, at JChurchRadio, at JChurchRadio. That's what you want to do. Hashtag F2B. Is the sandbox. I was just doing a test, and I'm still got some of this up. I closed one down. But I have 3 versions of TweetDeck open right before the show. And they were all updating differently. One was doing it one at a time. Another one, so I thought it was skipping. Another one was doing it 2. Another one's doing it 5. Boom. And Eric just said, what kind of vodka? Well, Eric, I have your vodka that you gave us as a gift. So I do have that. And I have got another 10 or 15 bottles of vodka in various freezers at the house. But I do have yours. Anyway, so I was watching TweetDeck update differently. Weird. And even skipping tweets. Very weird. Skipping tweets. One is updating everything one at a time, and everything is coming through. So, okay. All of our sponsors, Life Change Tea. Click on the banner. Go to getthetea.com. Go to the specials page. Order what you need and wish. Okay, use the promo code Jimmy either over the phone or online. You're going to get yourself free shipping. River Moon Coffee. Banners are up over at Jimmy Church Radio 2 as well. Makers of the Fade to Black blend, which is the best coffee on planet Earth, bar none. I'm verifying that right now. Yes, River Moon Coffee. Promo code is F2B Blend, 15% off of your order. Studio Dome, click on their banner. Get a stereo, true wireless stereo Bluetooth system in a hard shell case for $129. $129. 2 SBB2 speakers in a hard shell case. Promo code JCRTWS. Just in time for the holidays. All of this, if you think about it, give the gift that keeps on giving. Next week, as we wrap this up and we roll into next week, we are going to announce a new sponsor on the show. I'm totally excited about this. And you guys are going to love it. Let's get this show cracking. Our dead guy's birthday today is Boris Karloff, 1887 to 1969. Died at the age of 81. Can you imagine? 1887 to 1969. Dude went through covered wagons and horses, right? Saw that all the way through Woodstock. Dude saw Jimi Hendrix right before he died. What a life. Think about that. He played the monster in the 1931 film Frankenstein, still one of my favorites. He also starred in the sequels, of course, Bride of Frankenstein and Son of Frankenstein. But he was also The Mummy, which still scares the crap out of me. He was in The Ghoul, The House of Rothschild, The Raven, The Invisible Ray, The Walking Dead, Devil's Island, Black Friday, The Man with 9 Lives, on and on and on and on. Boris Karloff, the best. Happy birthday. On this day in history, 1936, it went down. 1936. Blues legend Robert Johnson makes a deal with the devil and makes his first ever recording. Johnson spent only 5 days in the recording studio, recording only 41 total takes of 29 different songs. 13 of those and 8 of those songs, including Sweet Home Chicago and Terraplane Blues, were captured during his first ever session. Think about that. On this day in 1936. In a makeshift studio, by the way, that was set up in adjoining rooms at the Gunter Hotel in downtown San Antonio, Texas. 29 songs, and nobody knows what happened to song number 30. 2 years later, after that deal with the devil wrapped up, he died of poisoning at the hands of a jealous husband on August 16th, 1938. Robert Johnson. There you go. Crossroads. You ever see that movie? Crossroads? Steve Vai played the devil. That guitar solo, Steve Vai at the end, pretty good. Pretty good. Had the Karate Kid, right? What was that kid's name? The Karate Kid. He was in My Cousin Vinny. Man, what was his name? Ralph Macchio. That's it. Ralph Macchio. Fader fact. Are you ready? Bill Gates. His net worth is 4.5 times as large as North Korea's entire GDP. Oh, man. Okay. I wanted to talk about a couple of things. One of the last week or so, as you notice, we've left politics alone. It's been absolutely wonderful. Wonderful, wonderful. And driving around Los Angeles, and I'm listening to talk radio, and I cannot believe how far out people have gone with politics. The election is over, right? And now all of the talk that is out there is, it's the left, it's liberal TV and the media. They screwed it up. It was the right. It was the right. It was the radicals. They screwed it up. It was Trump. It was this. It was that. And now Trump is showing his colors. He's backtracking on everything. And now, and it's just absolutely unbelievable how the media didn't learn their lesson, both on radio and television, have not learned their lesson. But the other part of it, this negativity that is being fueled right now by the media, this crazy conspiracy that I just thought we were done with the negativity and we were finally able to just move on. Just get this done. Get Trump into office. Let's support him. Let's just do what we have to do as Americans. Let's get back together. Let's take care of business and worry about our friends and our family, and the holidays are coming up. Come on, let's just move on, right? And mentally, I was there because I checked out. I left the media alone. I quit since the election. Since the election, I have not read anything to do with politics. I have not watched anything to do with politics. I have not responded. I have not Facebook, Twitter. I just don't do it. I don't read it. If a headline catches my eye, that's as far as I'll go, right? And I'm a better man for it. I feel great. I don't care about Trump. I don't care about Clinton. I don't care about anybody. Just want January to get here so we can move on, right? So, but this is what has been bothering me, and I'm just going to say this briefly and move on. This racism, Nazi, crazy stuff that is popping up around the country is disturbing to me. It is disturbing. The whole KKK aspect, this stuff is disturbing. We need to really watch ourselves here. And the reason why I bring this up is that we are all, well, I'm hoping that we are all uncomfortable with it. That was a bad time. The way that we have dealt with it, since World War II, absolutely squashing it at every angle. I remember I went into a pawn shop, and this was about 15 years ago. And I was looking for some pins from the Russian army, pins, medals and stuff, because there were a couple of them that had these really cool look to them. And I wanted them for a reason, not to wear, but there was a reason for it. But anyway, and so I go in, I'm talking to this pawn shop, a big pawn shop. And I said, well, do you got anything else? And I was looking at his stuff, and I go, do you got anything in the back? He goes, dude, no Nazi stuff here. I go, no, Russian. No, man, no. And that's the attitude, right? He thought that's what I was. Dude, you got anything in the back? No Nazi stuff, man. Get out of here. I was like, dude, no. That's not what I mean. You got any secret stuff? So anyway, this thing. Now, I don't know how real this racism, Nazi, white supremacist thing is because it's the media. So I don't know. I don't know if it's widespread. I don't know if it's fit. I don't know if it's real, but it freaks me out. Freaks me out to hear it at all. So I just want to say, man, keep your eyes open for that stuff. Keep your eyes open. You catch anybody that you know goofing around, slap them upside the head. We don't need that stuff. All right. Man, I just can't wait for this thing with Jon and to get over with, because I know that we're going to have 2-3 hours of phone calls coming up. We're going to have so much fun. And I want to get to it and get it done, because I know that when I leave the bunker tonight, jump in the car and head home, that smell, when I open up the door, that smell's going to be there. Okay, this is where I wanted to go, now that I got that Nazi crap out of the way. I posted today this little thing that I did. Now, it turns out, and I'm doing my best here, folks. I'm doing my best to get on the radar of the DPRK and North Korea. I'm trying my best to get on their radar. I want them to know who I am. I want them to know what I say. I want them to get angry. I want them to attack my computers. I want them to try to shut me down. I want them to know. Because if they do know that I'm here and that I'm running my mouth, then that means they are going to read what I have to say. I would love to be able to distribute USB drives from drones all over North Korea with this show on it. This show. And the stuff that I posted today and the stuff that I said last week about Kim Fatty Fat. Because that's his new name. Well, I got a few. Because today, Kim Fatty Fat of North Korea actually warned the United States to end, and I'm quoting here, its ever-worsening hostile moves and increasing nuclear threat against Pyongyang. End quote. In a memorandum issued yesterday by the North Korea's Foreign Affairs Ministry, Kim Fatty listed what he called, the quotes here have to be in place, the criminal acts of the United States, end quote. The lengthy memorandum is reportedly being seen by experts as a direct message to President-elect Donald Trump. How nice. Just in time for Black Friday. So, Kim Fat-un says, and I'm quoting, the anachronistic hostile policy and nuclear threat that the United States has enforced with unprecedented recklessness against the DPRK have only provoked its just and righteous countermeasures for self-defense, end quote. Kim Fat-un. And this was published by the state-run North Korean news agency, Central News Agency. It also claimed that outgoing President Barack Obama's administration went out of its way in its attempt to overthrow Kim Fat Lots. Kim Eat Lots and the country. Obama was also accused of, and I'm quoting here, constantly heaping malicious slander and criticism on the DPRK, end quote, and said Barack's government pursued an aggressive and heinous strategic suffocation policy. Kim Eat Lots continued with this. The U.S. has gone so far to breach the basic principles of international laws and ditch its dignity of a superpower by pleading with other countries to join their pressure racket against the DPRK through downgrading or severing ties with it, end quote. Fat Kim so fat. Now, these pictures that you guys are posting, these are good. These are good. But you need to go over to our Facebook pages. Go check those out. There's one that's on my personal page over at Facebook. There's another one that's over at Jimmy Church Radio. Go check it out. All right. Now, one last thing, and this just went down last week, and then I'll get John in here. Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Khamenei, said today that the United States' potential extension of sanctions under a 20-year-old law could violate that landmark agreement between the two nations. Now, he threatened stern reaction in response to an overwhelming vote by the House of Representatives last week to extend sanctions on Iran. Speaking to members of the Revolutionary Guard, Khamenei accused the U.S. of repeatedly breaking the deal struck in Vienna in July 2015 that would roll back Iran's nuclear program in exchange for decreased economic sanctions. Khamenei was directly responding to the House's vote last week to extend these sanctions on Iran for another 10 years, under the Iran Sanctions Act of 1996. Now, the House reached an overwhelming 419 votes to 1. That's a conclusion. But the extension must still pass the Senate and get approval from President Barack Obama. Obama said that he will veto the bill if it reaches his desk. Now, I just got to say, didn't they kidnap a Navy boat of ours? Didn't they hold our guys hostage? Remember that? We had to pay them off. Remember that? All the drive-bys of our boats, their planes, all the stuff that's going on. You know what? Yeah, I'm serious, man. We need to completely whack Iran's PP. We need to take the sanctions and just slap them around. I would revoke everything. I would keep the money. Let's go build some schools, some highways. Let's upgrade our infrastructure, and let's just keep the money. That's what I would do. I would teach. That's it. I'm just so done with this. A lot of it has to do with the media. I don't know what to really believe here, but this was the release that came directly out of Tehran. Me, I'd keep the money. I'd keep the money. That's what I would do. The only reason why he's even saying anything right now or stepping outside the box is because he just got, nearly $1 billion. He's feeling pretty good. All right. Let's get out of here. This is Fade to Black. It's Thursday night. It is Fader Night, which means, it's Wednesday night. It's Fader Night. Tonight, Jon Rappoport is here. We're going to do his No More Fake Newsroom. We're going to do his Living in the Matrix. And then we're going to take your calls with Jon all night long. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Can you tell I'm in a good mood? I'm in a good mood. Maybe I should break out the shot glasses. This is Fade to Black on the Game Changer Network and KGRA The Planet. I'll be right back.
You're listening to Jimmy Church, Fade to Black.
Fade to Black will now pause for alien identification.
The station that talks the net. KGRA Radio. When you take the beans from Central America with dashes of Indonesian and African mixed in and then roast it to the dark side of Fade to Black, you create the ultimate brew of fringe. Introducing the Fade to Black blend from Rivermoon Coffee. Yes, Rivermoon's darkest customized roast was created for the love of Fade to Black. The alchemy of masterful roasting and smoking the beans is in every sip of this full-bodied dark Java. I need my coffee dark, deep, with distinct bittersweet chocolate highlights, just like the bunker. Leaning further into the darkness of the roast is Fade to Black blend from Rivermoon Coffee. Just click on the banner at jimmychurchradio.com and use the promo code F2BBLEND for 15% off of your order today. Go Beckley Teppy.
Hi, folks. In a world of GMO, genetically modified organisms, that is, chemicals, processed foods, and a healthcare system that's unraveling like a cheap suit, it's time to prepare. God created herbs, and herbs help man. Our body can heal itself, just sometimes we need assistance. You need some help? GetTheTea.com. That's GetTheTea.com. Our mild detox is quite powerful with its unique blend of 8 different herbs. And if you're looking for more, our non-GMO supplements will help you with different needs you might have. Health should be a top priority. Take care of your health naturally. Log on to GetTheTea.com. That's GetTheTea.com. Give your body a treat. Let the herbs do their thing naturally. Read all the testimonies on the website, GetTheTea.com. That's GetTheTea.com. Sickness and viruses are like intruders. and herbs are like warriors. Let the tea work for you. That's getthetea.com.
9 out of 10 geneticists agree.
Fade to Black is not your father's radio show on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, The Planet.
Hi, this is Chase Kletsky with Fate Magazine Radio, and you're listening to Jimmy Church and Fade to Black on the Game Changer Network and the KGRA digital broadcast station, where the Fadernauts rock.
Hi, this is Rob Reiner from Anvil, and you're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com.
What's up? I'm Chris. What up? This is Kyle Massey, and you're listening to Jimmy Church Radio.
And now, coming to you from the No More Fake newsroom in deep space, which is the space that we suspect to be true, that the world, as it is fed to us every day by the Ministry of Truth, is a lie, a false reality, a movie projected on the screen of our subconscious. This, however, is the breakout. All the screens crash, they all go down, and we see the light of day. A new day. No more robots. No more androids. It's the No More Fake Newsroom with Jon Rappoport. Take it away, John.
Thank you, Jimmy. Great to be here on the night before Thanksgiving. And tonight we talk about The Matrix. The Matrix. As many of you know, on my website, nomorefakenews.com, I have 3 collections with that word in the title: The Matrix Revealed, Exit from the Matrix, and Power Outside the Matrix. So, we go back to 1987. I've been working 5 years as a reporter, writing articles for LA Weekly, and have just inked a contract to write a book on deep medical research involved with AIDS. And I am at the UCLA Biomedical Library in Los Angeles, rooting around in the stacks, looking at many journal articles on many related subjects, some of them quite old, really getting into the research behind the book that would eventually be published in 1988 called AIDS, Inc., Scandal of the Century. And I run into a friend of mine, and he has with him a friend of his named Jack True, who is a hypnotherapist working in Los Angeles, and we all begin to talk. And eventually Jack and I are wandering around, and he says, you know, what you're doing is really all about mind control. Well, this interests me a great deal because I've already seen some documents relating to the CIA's program called MK Ultra. There already have been hearings held on that mind control program in Washington, congressional hearings. And I've already spoken to people who have insider knowledge of that program, and they have told me that the program expanded considerably from its original idea, which was basically drugs and forms of torture and so on and so forth, into the fields of psychic research and attempting to find out what's going on in the mind here, what's happening really in the mind that makes some people more talented than others, more perceptive, that gives them paranormal abilities, and so on and so forth. So I say to this hypnotherapist, Jack True, what do you mean, mind control? He says, well, you're trying to research on a level of medical fraud that most people are not equipped to understand. Not just they can't understand the specifics, but they've been programmed so that they can't possibly accept the idea that a virus that has already been labeled and named and nailed down as the cause of AIDS could be a fraud. It's too much for their minds to take in. And that's because they've been programmed in various ways. So I said, so you mean in your work with clients, what you're trying to do is deprogram them? He said, exactly. I said, well, I thought that hypnosis is supposed to be all about putting people in a trance and then making suggestions to them. Yes, he said, but after doing that for a certain amount of time, he gave up on that. And I said, why? He said, because the people who were coming into my office as patients, the new people, were already in a state of hypnosis. I see that more and more. So what good is it going to do me to try to change one state of hypnosis into another? What I have to do is de-hypnotize them. I said, so that's what you do, right? He said, absolutely. Absolutely. We talked for a long time that day. Many things happened. And he said, look, the kind of work that I do, I put people in a light trance, but then I don't make suggestions. The trance is there only so that they are temporarily freed from the static of the radio stations in their mind. And then they can begin to look around and report on what they see inside themselves, and they can answer questions that I ask them. Well, I had never really considered this kind of, quote, hypnotherapy before. And I said, well, for example, what question might you ask somebody once they're in a trance? And he said, well, depending on the patient and what they can deal with, he said, I might say, for example, what is space and what is time? I said, really? He said, yes, of course. He said, these are fundamental questions. Why not ask a person that? Why not ask a person who is now unhooked from the static in their mind and from at least some of the programming that has existed since birth, the really big questions, like, say, what is the universe? What is existence? Why not do it? And I said, you mean people actually give you answers to this? He said, incredible answers. Once they're not operating on the bulk of their own programming. They begin to tell me stories. They begin to report what they see. They begin to travel and tell me what is going on and what they're experiencing as they travel. He said, this capacity to delve into the really big questions is inherent in everybody, except that they're interrupted all the time by their own thoughts and by their own daily lives. And so what I'm giving them is an opportunity to free themselves from that. He said, in fact, sometimes in the process of answering some of these big questions, people discover that they have paranormal abilities. I said, such as seeing into the future. And I said, you mean later it's confirmed that they're actually seeing something now that happens later? He said, oh, yeah, sure. Not all the time, but sometimes. He said, look, you have to understand this is not science we're talking about here, in the sense of experiments that you can repeat uniformly with the same result. And he said, I remember this clearly, we were sitting in the reading room by this time at the library. He said, look, suppose that you were doing experiments on track stars, runners, and as a requisite of the experiment, they had to be able to run 100 meters in at least, no more than 10 seconds. Of course, he said that's not always going to work because you're not talking about a machine, you're talking about a human being and a human being's capacities, faculties, which vary. They don't stay the same. So in the same way, I'm not doing scientific lab experiments on the paranormal. I find that with some patients, some of the time, these capacities emerge in the process of me asking questions and they answering questions when they are in a light trance. It just happens. Well, this all got me extremely interested, but of course I was working on my book, and it was an immersive experience, to say the least, for about 8 months after I first spoke with Jack. But once the book was published, he and I began to have regular conversations and to delve into this much more deeply. And of course, this was all, we weren't talking about matrix using that word. We were talking about reality and the changeability of reality as a result of changes in the mind of the individual. That was the basic foundation of our conversations. We were talking about the merging of the mind and the world in a kind of collaborative experience in which people would act out their programming. And that programming involved living in this physical world and merging, in a sense, with physical reality. The programming itself, wherever it came from, involved that experience which we call life. And he kept talking about the merge, this merge of the mind and the physical world, or the universe. And we began to do interviews, serious sit-down conversations in which I was taking notes, and then I would write up these notes after the conversations, the interviews. Many, many, many interviews. For example, in my first collection, and these 3 collections on the Matrix are very extensive, very large, I interviewed Jack 43 times. Those are published as text, and they are only part of the huge amount of material that I collected in our interviews. The merge. How to unmerge so that the individual and his mind can be free to a greater and greater degree of the programming. And that was his objective as a hypnotherapist. That was what he was aiming for. And in that endeavor, he would try many, many different things with many different patients. Not all of his patients, but the ones that he thought were able to deal with this. And our discussions eventually drifted into a great deal of discussion about ancient Tibet, with which we were both familiar. The experimentation, if you will, that adepts were undertaking in Tibet 1,400, 1,500 years ago, before the priest class took over, what Westerners would call the Tibetan magicians, written about extensively by a very heroic woman named Alexandra David Neel, Neel, and a Western author, John Blofeld. What were these people in ancient times doing in Tibet? They were involved in creative exercises of the imagination, far-reaching exercises, which people now might call visualization, but what they're calling visualization now is only a drop in the bucket compared with the discipline that was invoked by these Tibetan adepts. And their whole objective as well was to free the individual and his mind from programming that linked his experience to the physical world in a particular way, that locked him in, so to speak, to what one could now call the Matrix. How to unhook that, how to deprogram, how to reveal the creative potential of the individual to such a degree that he could begin to deal with the universe as a product of mind, and actually not just in his thoughts, but in reality, deal with the universe in that way. Change it. Do things to physical reality directly. Jack and I began to develop exercises. And from my end, this had a great deal to do with my experiences as a painter, which I've talked about with Jimmy here before on the show. The extraordinary things that happened to me when I started painting in earnest in 1962 in New York and found that my life completely changed in every possible way. My outlook on the future, my emotions, my confidence, my relationships with friends, family, etc., all the way down the line. And I had already been working on developing exercises for myself based on my experiences in painting, because I saw that there was something absolutely incredible that happens at a deep level to deprogram the individual when imagination and creative power come into play. And this, in a sense, was what Jack was doing with his questions that he was asking his clients when they were in a light trance. The answers that they were giving him to the really big questions, what is existence, what is the universe, what is space, what is time, were in part reporting on what they saw in that state of mind that they were in, and also imagination came into play as well. It was a combination of things. So together we began to develop more and more exercises that a person could practice on a daily basis alone to increase this deprogramming, to accentuate it. to unhook the person from the matrix of programming that impels him to live out his life in a certain fixed relationship to the physical world and physical reality and space and time. To make changes in that, in the direction of liberation, more freedom, more power. And that essentially, in essence, is the subject of my second collection, Exit from the Matrix, which includes many, many of these exercises that are practiced on a daily basis. As a reporter and an investigator and a researcher and a former teacher in schools, I noticed, as many people have, a progressive deterioration of the ability of people to think, to reason, to analyze, to follow a train of thought, or as we would say in logic, to follow a formal argument, or even to know what that is. And this deterioration, of course, involves education, but it also involves the entire culture and the progressively shortened attention span of people. And I found it necessary as a teacher and in my own work as a researcher to focus in on logic, to use it to the greatest degree possible in order to do my work, in order to help students become more adept so they could study, so they could understand what they were reading, etc., etc. And the more that I delved into this subject and its history, it goes back in the West to ancient Greece, Plato, Aristotle, and so forth, logic, I began to see how, as other researchers have, the nation of youth was being plunged into an abyss of the absence of the ability to think clearly and rationally. And so I began to put together notes which I titled Analyzing Information in the Age of Disinformation. As extensively as I could to present not an ironclad method, but a way of approaching information in order to separate the wheat from the chaff. And in my third collection, Power Outside the Matrix, that audio section, 6-8 hours, analyzing information in the age of disinformation, is highlighted, as well as other material, including more exercises in imagination that can be practiced daily in order to gain stability from operating outside the programming that glues people to living life on and on and on and on and on in a routine way without really being liberated. These three collections are the heart and soul of my work as a researcher for the last 30 plus years. And all the articles that I write at No More Fake News every day, don't know how many thousand by now. I've been around online with No More Fake News since the year 2001, can be traced back to the idea ultimately, regardless of what issue I'm dealing with, of the reality that is being imposed upon us, the programming, if you will, various aspects of it, versus what we would do as individuals if we were free from that programming. How would we live? What would we do? What would we build? That is where all of my work really comes from. That's what I've been about for all this time. And Jack True passed away in the early 1990s. I've continued certain aspects of our work together. I still refer back to material on ancient Tibet. And I'll close with this. To my surprise, because you never really know what you're getting into when you launch a new enterprise. You can't predict everything, certainly. When I started in 2001 with No More Fake News, to my surprise, I found a global audience of people who are intensely interested in these things and continue to be interested in everything that I've been discussing here. And, of course, exposure of covert ops, attempts to impose various kinds of false reality on us, on our minds, on our lives, etc., etc. Contrary to what I might have thought at the beginning, lo and behold, the audience keeps getting larger and more extensive, and people come from everywhere. This is amazing to me, and it renews my hope and my optimism that, in fact, there is an awakening occurring, because nowhere in my work am I interested in imposing content on people. Don't believe this, believe that. You know, that's not it. I am not presenting an ideology or you must accept this content as opposed to that content. It's all about liberation on all levels, the deepest possible. No, fairy tales and promises and so forth, but straight ahead. And that's what I've been doing, and that's what those Matrix collections are all about. And I continue to work on this and research it because I think it's fundamental to what we're all doing. And that's my story for tonight on Fade to Black.
Thank you so much, John. I'm going to jump in here, take a quick break. Are you ready? We're going to take phone calls all night long, man.
I'm ready.
It is so much fun to do that, and I'm glad that you are here with us on the eve of Thanksgiving. And are you guys ready? Are you guys ready for Thanksgiving over at the house? John?
Oh, yeah, we're ready.
Okay.
I thought you were talking to people in the studio.
No.
It's not going to be a giant thing because we just moved in.
We'll talk about that right after the break. Jon Rappoport is here. It is Fader Night. I'll be right back.
This is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
The station that talks the net. KGRA Radio.
Hello, I'm Katie, and you're listening to my main man, Jimmy Church, on jimmychurchradio.com.
Hi, this is Ray Hobbs here, repping the planet, and you're listening to my good friend, Jimmy Church, Fade to Black, on the Game Changer Network and the KGRA Digital Broadcast Station. I'm getting older and noticing that my body just doesn't work as well as it used to, so I like to keep fit as possible by hitting the gym a few times a week. Recently, I started having a nagging bicep pain, and it got so bad I couldn't even lift the weights. When I was complaining about it to a friend, he told me about angioprim. He said chelation helps remove toxins, heavy metals, and cholesterol in veins and arteries that may cause blockages. You know, after just 1 week of taking angioprim, the pain was gone, and now I'm back in the gym full strength. Scientific research proves the active ingredient in angioprim has superior oral chelation action that helps promote cardiovascular health. So to learn more, go to angioprim.com. That's ANGIOPRIM.com, or talk to a trained consultant. Call Angioprim toll free at 877-882-7221. You'll feel better with more energy. Call 877-882-7221 or go to the website angioprim.com.
This is Toby Kebbell. You're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com. Don't hurt me, Jimmy. I'm only little.
Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier. And this is Ari Gold. We're the Honey Brothers. Well, yes. We are of the Honey Brothers. Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier. And I'm Ari Gold. We're the Honey Brothers. And you're listening to Jimmy Church. The Revolution.
What's up, Fadernauts? Studio Dome loves Fade to Black and the F2B audience so much that they have put together the ultimate stereo Bluetooth system. They've done it just for you. Man, check this out. The Studio Dome SBB2 stereo system is here. It's featuring 2 Studio Boombox 2 SBB2 wireless Bluetooth speakers, packed in its own custom hardshell case. This Studio Dome system features the very latest in stereo Bluetooth technology. The 2 full-range boomboxes are in true wireless stereo. You've got to hear this. It's amazing. It's just $129, and use the promo code JCRTWS, and you'll also get free shipping. It's simple. Just go to JimmyChurchRadio.com, click on the Studio Dome banner. Go Beckley Teppy.
This is Micah Hanks of the Gralien Report, and you're listening to Jimmy Church on Fade to Black, across the globe on the Game Changer Radio Network and the one and only KGRA Radio, The Planet.
Welcome back. Fade to Black. It's Thursday. It's Thursday. It's Wednesday. We've only done this like twice over the years. Moved Fader night back to Wednesday night, so you gotta understand. But it's Wednesday night. A very, very special Fader night presentation. We have Jon Rappoport here with us. We're going to be taking your phone calls. Opening up the phone lines now, 323-825-5045, 323-825-5045. And I'm so happy that all of you are here tonight hanging out with us on the eve of Thanksgiving. And so I'm going to get things started here, John, with this. A couple of days ago, I was shocked to see, it was on Friday, that the WHO announced that they were taking back their Zika worldwide emergency labeling, right? And the way that the CDC chimed in on this as well, and backtracked. Now, of course, you and I, you especially, well, me too as well, but I had said back then when Zika first popped up that this was just going to be another CDC thing, right? Here we go. And we'll have another, epidemic next month. Everybody just be patient, right? We'll get through this. But sure enough, man, they did this on Friday. What did you think about that?
Well, it's just what you said, Jimmy. They do it and then they undo it, or they just let it go and let it disappear and fade into the twilight. What I thought was they were caught with their pants down, and they didn't look pretty.
Right.
Because they just couldn't put together the case. It was too crazy. They had countries where they said, well, there's a lot of Zika virus here, and we're not finding this birth defect that we claim is being caused by the virus, even though there's a whole bunch of the virus, say in Colombia. Can't find any cases really, or not very many, and it's, lots of people were chiming in, including yours truly, and even doctors were, and this happened with swine flu, it happened in a number of cases. Smallpox scare some years ago, doctors begin coming out of the woodwork and saying, wait a minute, there's no evidence here. There's no proof. Can't you guys see this? And it builds to the point where they just have to, the World Health Organization, the CDC, they backtrack and they try to cover themselves in the process. Sometimes they'll say, well, it seems that, because we were so on the case so early that we've, prevented it from spreading, or whatever they say, right? But really, they're admitting, no, it wasn't what we said it was.
Yeah, on Monday, I'm going to look it up here. I'm going to pull up my notes. But I got this quote from, I believe he was a salesman, right? That, I have it right here. Hold on for a second. I believe he was a salesman. And this whole thing with Zika was enough. But this quote here about money and profits, right? And his name was Scott Weaver. And he goes on to say, and he goes, look, you don't get it. The most lucrative market is seen that is out there is travelers seeking inoculation against a virus. That's where we make our money. And when you think about a mosquito-borne disease throughout Central and South America and all of the travelers, the rich people that are going there, they're going to want inoculation, man. And so that's where the money is at. And he actually said, and I'm quoting here, not only that, but he said, it scares people. He's a virologist with the University of Texas, and he's chairman of the Zika Task Force for the Global Virus Network, right? And he goes, it scares people. Europeans and Americans can pay a pretty high price for these kinds of vaccines. Right? I'm just like, dude, it was just a fascinating thing for me to just, be able to sit back and go, that felt good. Let's go to the phones. Yeah. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Say hi to Jon Rappoport. Who's calling? You're live. 3, 2, 1. All right, gone. And it's just 323-825-5045. 323-825-5045. Okay, I'm just gonna do this in order here. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Say hi to Jon Rappoport.
Jon Rappoport, how you doing today?
All right, very good.
Good deal. Hey, I'm calling from California. Jimmy, I called you a few days ago. My name is Joe. I'm the guy in law enforcement.
Oh, hey, Joe. How are you?
Hey, good. I was calling, man, to see what do you suggest people can do to bring more positivity into the world? With everything going on and the bad, and what do you suggest we do to try to stay, more conscious and on higher vibration?
Well, that's a great question. And John, and thank you for the call. The thing is, John, and I noticed this with you, with everything that you present, right? And it's all a warning and just beware and go and investigate, you do. But yet you, John, remain optimistic, right? With all of the, how do you manage to do that? And what would you suggest?
Well, I think the first thing that a person has to consider is, what is your future? What do you want for your future? Why are you here? What are you doing? if you can get that clear, things change. In other words, you're not trapped into every single blow up and scandal and bad thing that happens. You're not hooked on everything because you're already launched.
Right.
You've got your future that you want, and you're intent on making it happen. This, to me, is the great separator. And you can look at people and sort of make a division there. Somebody who doesn't have a clue about that is really going to be hooked in, because the news hooks you in all the time if you pay attention to it.
Right.
So I would say that's the beginning of it.
There you go, Rob. Are you positive?
Yeah, I try to stay positive as much as possible. You literally have to turn off everything, and and try to my thing is I go for walks and I try to, I try to be aware of everything around me. The grass, the air, the light shining on my face. I try to think as positive as possible. I want everything in my time, to go right. So it's just a struggle. I know somebody's out there listening they feel the same that I do. Like, it's so much negativity going on, and people I talk to, I tell them, hey, look, just think positive. Be to pray. My mom always says pray, and just try to fight all this. It's so much. It's so scary. It's overwhelming.
Yeah.
Much.
Well, have a great, safe Thanksgiving tomorrow, okay? And again, your message is spot on the money. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Yep. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. You're live. You're live. 3, 2, 1. Huh. Man, that's just bizarre. It's one of the things that I talked about earlier tonight, John, is that the media didn't, and the conspiracy of the media, it is so far and so wide, and I think that the level of responsibility or the concern with responsibility and the news is gone through the floor. They on every single aspect, and to hear Facebook and Twitter that now they're alarmed about the proliferation of these fake news and fake news websites, and this stuff has always been out there, and they knew that this stuff was going on, right? And they let it go. They let it go for the longest time, and now where it is a concern and people are talking about it, now they're allegedly going to start to do something about it. What I'm afraid of is it's going to turn into a form of censorship, because I don't mind satire, right? I like The Onion. You know what I mean? And I how do we start to draw the line from satire to fake news and then censorship? Are we playing with fire here?
Oh yeah, major fire. Because if you look at what they're talking about, these social networks and major media and so forth, when they say fake news, they really mean any kind of news outlet that is independent and is challenging major media for the attention of the public.
Right.
They're not really talking about, some crazy website that somebody sets up with a bunch of crazy stories that they know are fake in order to just get clicks. They're talking about a threat to themselves and to the television news networks and major newspapers, and that's what they're really worried about. And so they are the fake news people. They're the experts on how to bamboozle the public, and we cover these stories and we don't cover those stories. I mean, the people that you have on the show here that talk about issues that millions of people want to know more about, Major media are not covering that.
No.
They don't want to get into it.
No.
Because they've got a very narrow view of reality and what people are supposed to be thinking about.
Right. It's fascinating to me. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black.
Hey, Mr. Church. Ben Trout from Bristol.
Hey, Ben Trout from Bristol. How are you, man? Say hi to John.
Man, I'm well. Hello, Mr. Rappoport. How are you doing tonight, sir?
Oh, very good. Very good.
Hey, Ben, are you guys ready for Turkey Day tomorrow? I know you are. You must be.
Man, I'm telling you what, I was talking to my wife just earlier this afternoon. I said, Jimmy's calling out for this cornbread recipe, and I can send you up some special Southern-style cornbread that would knock your socks off.
You know, there was, well, Ben, you're a little late on that, but you know what?
I know I am, yeah.
Ben is, John, just so you know, he's out in Bristol, Tennessee. And check this out, Ben, this is no joke. One of the things that I used to enjoy about Memphis is the food. The music is unquestioned, right? The nightlife there, unquestioned.
Right,
no doubt about it. No doubt. But when you went into some of these serious, hardcore family and mom and pop restaurants and barbecue places around Tennessee, in Nashville, in Memphis, in Knoxville, wherever you went in Tennessee, and you would get your bag full. That's how you normally got it, right? Your bag full of barbecue.
Right, yeah.
And in that bag of barbecue, you would have your barbecue with the sauce poured all in on top of it, if that's the way you got it, whatever, maybe a half an ear of corn. They'd roll up the top, and and in the other hand would be a bag full of cornbread, right? And you walked out and you put the cornbread you put the stuff on the seat of the car and you drive away. And when you got out, the cornbread bag would leave a grease stain on the seat, right? And that's when you knew.
Either bag, it didn't matter if it was the bag with the meat or the bag with the bread. Both were equally as greasy.
Yeah, you took your chances, man. You took your chances. And that's what I miss, man. Oh, that cornbread.
Yeah, but here's what I was going to tell you, Jimmy. Listen, regardless of the recipe, it's not what goes into the cornbread; it is what it is baked in. It has to be, and I'm telling you, I'm originally from Kentucky, now here in Tennessee.
Right.
But it has to be cooked in that cast iron skillet.
Right.
It has to be baked in that, because that's what gives it that crispy edge on the outside, but then that's what makes it cakey on the inside. It's great stuff.
You're messing with me, man. You're messing with me. So before we move on here, because I know you've got something for John, do you guys do anything unique for the Thanksgiving table, or do you guys go full standard issue like we're doing?
No, you know what? For the last 5 or 6 years now, we have seriously delved into the deep fried turkey here.
Yeah.
So,
I'm afraid of burning down the house. That's the only reason why I don't
it's
do
good.
it.
So I've already got it set up for tomorrow. So I have a deep fryer, and I've hooked it up to a propane tank, just like you would a gas grill that sits on your deck outside your house or whatever.
Right.
And it's already set up. I've already fired it up tonight just to make sure that it was right. And we use peanut oil, and we just drop a turkey in there, 3 minutes for every pound that you have the turkey. And I'm telling you, it fills all the juices inside, and it is.
Did you say? Did you just say? Did you hear that, John? 3 minutes per pound.
3 minutes per pound.
Yeah.
So you're looking at 20-pound turkey, right?
An hour.
Yeah, there you go.
An hour, and it's done.
It's done, and I'm telling you, it is absolutely wonderful.
Yeah, I was talking to a chef buddy of mine earlier this week, and he said, dude, seriously, deep fried, you will never have a juicier bird in your life. It seals everything in.
Yeah, you drop it in there, Jimmy, and it seals all the juices inside right off the bat, and then it just heats everything up, cooks the meat up nice and flaky, and everything turns out well.
Well, I've seen the YouTube videos, of guys out in a parking, burning down 400 cars, right?
Yeah.
With these explosions that happen, and
Call
that
911 now.
all right. So, who just won his 6th, 7th?
Jimmy Johnson.
Jimmy
bleeping
bleeping Johnson. Do I have a Jimmy Johnson hat here? Did you send me one?
If you need one, I'll send it to you.
Man. So he's up there with Richard Petty, isn't he?
And Dale Earnhardt.
Yeah. Man, that's pretty incredible, man. And I mean, my
It
hat's
really
off to
is, yeah.
to I don't think most people understand. And by the way, Jon Rappoport just moved to the East Coast, so he's in your neck of the woods now. So he's got to start following NASCAR. He doesn't have a choice because he's in the deep South
John,
now.
come to Bristol Motor Speedway. You'll never forget it, brother.
All right.
John, I'm just going to let you know that Mr. Trout here is the VP or one of the VPs at Bristol Motor Speedway.
Oh,
that's who you're speaking to.
Indeed.
That's who you're speaking to. So that's it. Snap to attention, sir. Sit up.
Okay.
All right. Hey, Ben, what do you have for John tonight?
Hey, I want to take John deep. I've listened to you, John. I don't call in much, but Jimmy will tell you that I seldom miss a show, and I appreciate you on Thursday nights, and of course tonight the anomaly of a Wednesday night. But I want to take you deep, given all of your insight and just your observations and thoughts throughout the years. What do you think, and this is a really broad question, and I may apologize in advance for it, but what do you think the end game is? That's part one of the question. So like with from major media to the people that are there pulling the strings, making us live the life that we live, forcing us into the pigeonholes that we're in. What do you think the end game is? And then the second part of the question would be why. So I'm going to throw that out there.
Okay, those are good questions. Well, pigeonhole is a clue. I think that the end game is a future in which everybody has his or her place, function, designation, identification, and everybody works for, which we could call it the state, we could call it the government, we could call it the oligarchy. That's their end game. In other words, it occurred to me as I was doing a lot of research in the 1990s, the biggest innovation of the 20th century is organization. Beyond anything else, super organizations that keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And government is one of them, and corporations and other, and so on and so forth. And the idea behind it is that everybody in the organization has a specific compartmentalized task. And that's what people are supposed to focus on and do. That's their obligation. And if you look around, you can see that in many respects, that's where we're going. And that's their end game. They want a completely planned society in which everybody is pigeonholed and identified, and you do this, that's your job, and you will be taken care of. That's the deal. That's the carrot. The stick is, if you don't, you'll be punished. You'll be outside. And that's where they're trying to lead everybody, in that direction. And why? Because the people at the top want control. It's simple. That's their psychology. That's the only thing that stimulates them. You, I, Jimmy, the people who are listening, we can all say what makes us excited and thrilled and so on and so forth. But for these people, these top elites, they have nothing except control. That's the only thing they get up for in the morning. And they see that they have a planet here, and they want the whole thing to be super, super organized. And you can find lots of science fiction novels and movies too, but the novels do it better, where that's the shape of the future. That's what is being built. 1 billion people, 5 billion people, 10 billion people, no problem. We can organize it. We can make it all sink in and work together as long as we can make people do what we want them to do. That's their game.
I have another question then, real quick. So I hear exactly what you're saying, and I think about myself. I mean, every day I'm satisfied when I wake up in the morning and I do my daily routine and I go to my job and I fulfill my obligations. I'm satisfied with that. I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. I get that. But don't you think, so how do you mix in the chaos that seems to be being created by the same people? So if you're talking about order and organization, how do you figure in the crazy election and the two candidates that we ended up running for president? And then how do you figure in the chaos of what's happening in Syria and in the Middle East? And how does all of that play in? Because it seems like while they may be managing organization, they're also managing chaos too.
You bet. That's a really good question. It's an age-old formula, which many people have heard. Order out of chaos. Because the ultimate aim is you disturb the status quo enough to cause a certain amount of chaos, and then people are afraid. And when they're afraid, they will give up their freedom for security. And then you can clamp down even harder on people's freedom. You can do more and more surveillance, and people will go along with that. You can impose more order, more organization, more top-down control when you have chaos, because people are afraid, and this is what the majority of people will want. Whereas if you have no chaos, and then you say, well, we want to organize this more, and you're going to have to obey more than you are now obeying, a lot of people are going to say, well, why should we? We don't see any point in it. What's the purpose? Everything is okay. So it has to be made not okay. People have to be afraid. They have to be thinking, well, I read about this and I see this on television, the news, and here's destruction here and war there and this here, and oh my God, Okay, that becomes the occasion for them, the controllers, to move in and say, this is what we have to do. I mean, look at the Patriot Act after 9/11.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, how could you pass that piece of legislation in 1993, 92? How could you do it? You couldn't do it.
Or 88. Yeah. I hear you. Hey, Ben, have a great, safe Thanksgiving tomorrow. Enjoy your time with your family. Enjoy your time off. And then you got a new season coming up in NASCAR, man. Get ready. Thank you so much.
All right. Hey, thanks, gentlemen. Have a great Thanksgiving.
Yeah, you too,
Thank
Ben.
you.
All right, let's do this. This is Fade to Black. It's our special Wednesday night Fader Night with Jon Rappoport taking your calls all night long. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. More with Jon and your phone calls right after this short break. Stay with us.
Way out here, we listen to Jimmy Church.
You're listening to Fade to Black.
Always on the edge of the hottest alternative talk. Jimmy Church with Fade to Black. KGRAradio.com.
It's the
tal, mis amigos? Yo soy Mario Carson, el tiburón, y los invito para que escuchen a mi buen amigo Jimmy Church Radio. ¡Claro que sí!
How you doing? This is Jimmy from Zeepa, and I want to talk to you a little bit about Black Friday and Cyber Monday. All you people that like to procrastinate, the people that like to go ahead on Black Friday the night before and they camp out waiting for that great deal. Well, hello, newsflash, the deal for Zeepa is now. The deal for Zeepa is today. We do not reward procrastination. If you want a great price on a Zeepa, go to Zeepa.com and buy now. If you're going to go ahead and procrastinate, we're going to penalize you for it. What does that mean? That means the price of all the Zeepas go up on Black Friday. And you know what happens on Cyber Monday? It goes up again. This is the last opportunity that you will have to get this great price for the Zeepa. This is the time now. You wait till Black Friday, the price is going up. Because remember, sleep is priceless. Go to Zeepa.com, that's ZYPPAH.com, and get the deal now.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Work with your doctor when taking medications. Make Protovite part of your healthy lifestyle.
HealthForLiberty.com is your source for Protovite, a powerful nutritional supplement that's a true breakthrough for your health. Poor digestion makes it nearly impossible to absorb the nutrition your body needs. Protovite is a liquid multi-nutrient formula with patent-pending absorption technology and the highest quality ingredients to nourish every cell in your body.
My name is Sandra White. 6 weeks ago, when I started taking Protovite, I was on 14 medications, from everything for blood pressure to fibromyalgia. In the first 10 days, my blood sugar dropped 50 points, and my fibromyalgia pain is gone. And so was 12 of the 14 medications that I was taking. I'm 66, living life and loving it.
Go to healthforliberty.com right now. That's healthforliberty.com.
Thank you, Protovite, for giving my life back.
You are listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Network.
Oi, oi, I'm Reese Evans. You're listening to Jimmy Church. This is Revolution. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution is on radio. Ciao.
Welcome back. Fade to Black, a special Wednesday night Fader Night. Open lines all night long. 323-825-5045. With my co-host for the evening, Jon Rappoport, is here with us. Now, John, check this out. Business isn't good at a Chicago tech company that was outed last month for its practice of buying social media data and reselling it to the police. Last month, the American Civil Liberties Union revealed that Geofedia had been given access to data by Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, which Geofedia used to build software products. And they turn around and they got accounts for the police across the United States that the ACLU called surveillance tools. Facebook and Instagram took cut off Geofedia's feed access back in September, and Twitter blocked access after receiving the ACLU report in October. I reported on this about 2 weeks ago, and losing access to those social media data feeds seems now to have such an impact on Geofedia's business model that a spokesman today announced to the Chicago Tribune, where they're based at, they're out of Chicago, that it laid off 31 employees out of 60 total. In an email statement to the newspaper, Geofedia CEO Phil Harris said that his company wasn't created to impact civil liberties. I call BS on that. But after the debate spurred by the ACLU report, they're now changing the company's direction. And so I went, John, check this out. I go and check into Giaffidia's background. They would have this a year contract with certain law enforcement agencies in almost every major city, by the way, and they charged them $30,000 a year. And so $30,000, man. And so they would turn around, and whether it was Boston or it was, St. Louis or Los Angeles, they would get the demographics in the areas that the police wanted covered, and they would turn around and pull the information off of the live feeds from Twitter and Facebook, and then turn around and go, okay, this is what is going on in this geographic location, completely invading the privacy of citizens across the country and profiting from it.
Wow.
Isn't that nuts?
Now, these social networks would voluntarily give the information to them?
Yes. They had and it was on a technical level, the feeds would come from different sources, right? And the way that Twitter handled it and Facebook and Instagram handled it were all a little bit different, a lot of it the same. But nonetheless, they allowed Giaffidia to tap in real time on all of these sources and of the information with personal profiles, feeds directly off of the sites. It was just absolutely incredible.
I've seen footage of militarized police forces. We're talking about local police forces around the country, not the FBI or something like this. And for one thing, the hardware that they're getting from the military is mind-boggling. Armored vehicles, all kinds of stuff, even in small communities. The police are being militarized. And then I've seen brief footage of some of the, whatever you call it, communications centers or control rooms of these police forces, where you see, screen everywhere, screens, video feeds coming in, people looking at the video feeds, computers. Just awesome in terms of the coverage of their areas so that they can do surveillance on whatever is happening. This is what I was talking about before. The perceived need to have this. We've got to have this because there's so much lawless activity going on that this is the only way that we can protect everybody. That's the mantra. And then you get situations like the one you just described. Well, we have to protect everybody, so we have to give all this information to the police. It's astounding.
Yes, it is. And warrantless, too, as well. And the other part for me that you just touched upon, callers, stay right there. I'll get to you guys in just a second, is what does a police force, and I'm not going to point directly at any specific city or state. I'm not pointing fingers. But what does a police force in small-town America that has a population of 10,000, what do they need an armored personnel carrier for? Right? That's left over from the Iraq War. What do you need that for? What do you I just don't get it. Right? And the distribution of these, what do you need Humvees for? What do you really need? What is it in your town that you are so paranoid about that you have a need for that? There's another issue that's in play here, and it's not the APC, right? It's not the Humvees. There's another serious situation here that needs to be addressed. And if you're that afraid, right, I equate it to a situation like this. If you are an NBA player, right? You're in the NBA, and you're driving from your gated community on the nice side of town, and you're driving to basketball practice or the game that night, right, in your tinted windowed SUV or Bentley or whatever you got, right? And that's your route from a gated area across town into, and you're parking underneath the arena, right, in private parking with security. What do you need a gun for? What are you so paranoid about? Because I got to tell you, John, I drive around in some pretty shady areas of Los Angeles, but I don't have a gun, right? And if my status was elevated to the next level, where I'm in Beverly Hills, what do I need a gun for? What crime is going down? What do you anticipate? It's the same thing with law enforcement agencies across the country, arming themselves up with automatic weapons and APCs and Humvees, getting ready for urban warfare. From who? For what? What am I missing here? I just don't get it. I just don't. Let's go to the phones. I've had people on hold here for a while. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Say hi to Jon Rappoport.
Hello, Mr. Rappoport. It's my pleasure to speak with you tonight.
And
hello?
Yes, we're listening to you.
We're here. We're ready.
Oh. I really enjoy your blog site, and I love FADERNIGHT. And I just wanted to say that. And then also, a couple of blogs back, you used a word I just fell in love with, which I had to write about, which was bloviating. I love the way it just trips off your tongue.
Bloviating, yes. I like that word, too.
Yeah.
I like that word, too.
Because
it has a sort of gaseous feeling to it, doesn't it?
It's kind of like me.
No, it's not like you. You took that totally out of context.
I feel bloviated.
I love that word, though. I had to look it up.
And
I rarely have to look up a word. And I'm going, what the hell does that mean? So I looked it up and I went, oh, I love this word. It was quite excellent. I wanted to ask you, because of where I know you're coming from, and especially with what you opened with this evening, about an idea that I've been chasing around for the last week or so, or since I went and saw Arrival, which I've always thought this, but it really brought it into clear focus. And that is, I have a feeling, I'm kind of thinking about how language itself shapes our reality more than we think it does. And also how, because of, we think in words and we use words to shape our thoughts, that words themselves are a bigger control mechanism on why we can't seem to free our minds up, because it's all in the language. I wrote a blog on it, and I don't speak well. I type a lot better than I speak.
I think you speak very well. I think you're right on the money. I agree with you entirely. I think that this is something that people, it's very hard to see because you're swimming in it all the time. We're using language all the time. We're talking to each other. We're writing. We're hearing other people talk. We're watching screens, and other people are talking and typing and writing, and there's language everywhere. And everywhere there is the same kind of language. So what is the limitation here? Well, the limitation is that when you learn language, it's supposed to be able to help you to perceive deeper and higher and wider, but people get trapped into the language and the way language is built and so forth, so that they begin to see the world through the words. This is what
Yes.
you're talking about, right?
Yes.
This,
And I noticed children, babies, before pre-language, and, cats and dogs, we always laugh about how babies see ghosts and cats see things that we don't, dogs don't see things, or see things that we don't. And I wonder if it's because they aren't in this trap of words and how we've built them. That was a beautiful phrase, by the way.
I think that's right. I think that's absolutely correct. For example, a dog, scientists have really done some deep research on the smell factor, what a dog can really do in terms of detecting scent and processing it to know what it means automatically without any verbiage or any language whatsoever. And I thought I understood that, okay, dogs, they can really smell. But I had no idea the incredible number of receptors and the differentiation processes that go on with dogs to be able to detect things at very long distances and know what it is and what it isn't, and to anticipate threats and so forth. I mean, the network that's involved there is just astounding. And it involves no words at all.
Right. And this is where what I'm leaning to is, I have a theory that before we had language, we had telepathy. And I feel like the ancient story of the Tower of Babel babbling, was a form of recording of when that broke. And when that broke, we had to have language, and then we had babble. And the fact that you've studied the Tibetan studies that you have, I'm sure that they have clues in there about that. But I have a feeling that language is part of what inhibits us from connecting with the greater part of who we are.
I don't think
Because
there's
of the way
any
we
doubt
think.
that we have, we say we have 5 senses. Well, that's not true. We have many more than that. They're dormant in most people. I like to give the analogy of the light spectrum, which, as we know, we're only operating in part of the light spectrum. We can see certain things or certain frequencies, you might say. But there's whole other aspects of that spectrum that we're unaware of, completely unaware of, but they exist. And I would agree with you. I think that latent and dormant in each one of us, there is the capacity to see a great deal more, to have more sensory experience beyond what we normally take to be that kind of experience, which now gets into telepathy. It gets into being able to see into the future. All of these things which are there already, it's not something, that you have to find out of nothing. It's there. It's just not being tapped into. And one of the major reasons why is because we're so reliant and dependent on language that that's where all of our focus goes. And then on top of that, making it even worse, suppose now a movement comes along that says, really a lot of the language we use is offensive. And so we have to block that out. And we can only use a small part of the language that we ordinarily use, right? And this social pressure becomes even more inhibiting, and it limits our perception even further. So the trap gets smaller.
Yes.
Thank you so much for the phone call. And what's special on on your Thanksgiving table tomorrow?
Well, we're having Thanksgiving not this Sunday, but the next Sunday, because of kids and divorces and all sorts of stuff like that. But so tomorrow, Colo and I are just we're gonna play hooky. It's gonna be great. We haven't been able to do that in a long time. And generally on my table, I can't vary the menu because people get really upset. But I make everything from scratch. I don't use any pre-made ingredients. I make the bread. I make the stuffing. Everything is scratch. That's my special treat.
Yes. There you go. Thank you so much, Allison, and behave and be well.
I will, and thank you, John. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
It was wonderful. Thank you.
All right, Allison.
I enjoyed it very much. Thank you.
Have a great Thanksgiving.
You guys too. Bye.
Now, bloviated. So I go, and it doesn't even sound like a word, right? It just doesn't sound right. And so, but you look it up, and there it is. Talk at length, especially in an inflated or empty way. Now, when you use a word like that, John, are you thinking of somebody, an individual? Are you thinking of somebody specific?
Sometimes, but a lot of times I'm thinking of politicians. I often associate it with, and I think that's where it started. That's my take on it. Because I became aware of the word maybe, 5-10 years ago. And it seemed always to be associated with politicians who were just, bloviating. I mean,
right.
Then you say, well, what are they saying? Nothing.
And
they're really active about it.
I remember I had an elder, I'll just say that, when I was younger, that said something to me in my teens, early teens, maybe even younger than that, but right around that time, 10, 11, 12, 13 years old, and said to me, and I've lived by this ever since, said to me, the world is full of people that talk and don't listen. We need people to listen and talk less. Right? And you just stop and you think about the significance. That's it. We're full of a world of bloviators, right? Right? And not listeners. And there's a big difference there. There's a big difference, and it's a frustrating thing, but that's exactly, I think, the problem that we have, is that there's too much talking and not enough listening.
I agree. Absolutely. Sometimes when you can stop the music, so to speak, and just listen to somebody long enough, you realize, wow, I had no idea this was going on. It's almost like a revelation. I thought they were talking about this, but now that I'm actually listening to them and shutting down my bloviating impulse, it's quite interesting. It's quite, revealing. Quite revealing. I once thought that, how would I put this? The interview, the story of your life as a form of therapy. Because I've done so many interviews as a reporter,
mm-hmm.
and I've discovered that the longer you listen to people, and many writers have commented on this going way back in time, and the more people begin to unravel, and they begin to talk about all kinds of things, and they will tell you the story of their life, or they could tell you the story of their life. And it becomes all of a sudden fantastic and fascinating. And you learn things, they learn things that you would never know otherwise. I've found this to be true with interviews. Well, I'm here for this reason. I want to get a few quotes, and we start talking, and then, oh, gee, what did he say there? Gee, wow, let me ask him another question. And then another question, another answer, another question, another answer. And an hour and a half later, what was supposed to be 5 minutes is now we're getting into really deep waters here, and fantastic things are coming out that I would never have suspected.
Right. The difference in that, and I've always enjoyed listening. Right. I can talk, and I can talk for hours on end and never interrupt myself. Right. I can just go and go and go. But one of the things that I enjoy is just shutting up and listening to somebody else's thoughts or opinions. But it's when somebody or changes off of that path and starts to bloviate and maybe talk about themselves or things that they feel are important or make themselves sound smart. That's where it's amazing how I check out. I check out. My attention span goes off, and there's a difference when, you know what I'm saying, right? There's a difference between something that's interesting and something that an opinion is wonderful to listen to. I swear, if somebody has got an opinion, I am listening. And I hope that opinion is against my grain, right? If somebody's opinion is the same as mine, again, I kind of check out. But if I can get argumentative with somebody, right, and start to listen to a difference of opinion where now suddenly I'm in learning mode, right? That is where I find things most interesting. And I can listen to somebody talk for hours, just as long as it's an opinion and it's different from mine. It's an art, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And you never totally master it, but you can get a lot better at it because as long as the bloviating factor does not overwhelm you. Right. And if you can just shut that down, long enough, then everything becomes exciting.
That's
what a conversation we had,
Right. And that's why the best question you can have with somebody after they bloviate just a little bit, the best question you can ask is why? Why? Okay, that's great that you have that opinion. That's great, and thank you for that, but why? And that is when you start to get to the root of it. You don't have to have a 15-minute question. You don't. Or a 5-minute question. You don't. Why? And then sit back and listen and enjoy yourself and listen to what somebody has to say. With that, I'm going to take a break from bloviating and say happy Thanksgiving to everybody. Our guest tonight, co-hosting with me right here on this very special Fader Night, is the one and only Jon Rappoport. His website is nomorefakenews.com. That's where you need to start out your day. More of your questions and calls right after this. Stay with us.
Hi, everybody. This is Rob Halford, the Metal Guard on JimmyChurchRadio.com.
KGRA Radio. Intelligent talk.
Did you know 40% of all cancer could be prevented? That's a fact. Along with maintaining appropriate body weight and regular exercise, the American Institute for Cancer Research and the USDA confirm that eating 9 to 11 servings of fruits and vegetables every day is the key. Now ask yourself, am I at risk? How many servings of fruits and vegetables did I eat today? Balance of Nature has solved this problem and provides an easy and affordable way to consume over 10 servings of 31 different whole fruits and vegetables every day.
Call now to find out how to get your free month's supply of Balance of Nature. Call 800-2468-751. That's 800-2468-751. Call now, 800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com.
Use promo code TSL.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7 with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on the smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store. So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7 with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on the smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
If your home has hard water, then it's likely that limescale is clogging your pipes, damaging your appliances, costing you hundreds of dollars each year. You can eliminate limescale in the entire house with HydroCare products available at Wave Home Solutions. Easy and efficient with no maintenance, no salts, no chemicals, and no coils. And you can buy with confidence from Wave Home Solutions. Performance guaranteed. Just go to bestwater411.com. That's bestwater411.com.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi available, you can still listen to every minute of Fade to Black by just calling 605-562-4482. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan and no extra cost if you have unlimited minutes. Just call 605-562-4482. You can listen to me, Jimmy Church, on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Go Beckley Tappy.
You want to know a secret? I love ponies. I really love ponies. I'm serious. I couldn't stay sane without ponies to brush.
Why fade to black? Because you never got that pony, damn it.
This is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
323-825-5045. 323-825-5045. It is Open Lines. It is Wednesday night. This is a very special Fader Night presentation right before Thanksgiving with Jon Rappoport manning the phones with me here. And before I get back to the phones, John, I've got a couple of emails and posts that were sent in for you. And one of them is from Kay. Kay says, Jimmy, please ask John about the long-term health effect of Bluetooth earbuds and cell phone usages against our brains.
Yeah, I'm not an expert on this, but I've read enough to be concerned, especially against the head. These signals, waves, not great. Studies have been done. It's a giant cover-up, is what it is. I mean, because, when you've got this technology, which is everywhere, and everybody is subjected to it, and everybody's paying for it, and all of a sudden, studies come out, and people are concerned, and they're showing adverse effects. What are you going to do?
Right.
How are you going to deal with this? This is not one of the subjects that I've delved deeply enough in to say, okay, here's the answer, or there is an answer or something. But we keep developing these technologies without safety studies, real ones, I pointed out, for example, when genetically modified food was first released in the United States, let's call it 1996, the FDA basically said it's up to the companies to show or to declare that the technology is safe. And then a representative of Monsanto came back and said, we're in the business of selling the technology. The FDA has approved it, so here we go. It was like passing the buck back and forth. And that was basically the whole of the safety studies that were done at the time when it was first approved to be used on farmland. And I know this sounds mind-boggling, but it's absolutely true. That's the way a new technology was introduced. And of course, subsequently, all kinds of things have come out about this, including the pesticides and so forth. We keep doing it. We keep doing it. And these agencies of the government who are there that are supposed to be demanding safety first before approval are in collusion with the very corporations that are selling the technology, so they give it a free pass.
With especially with your references to the Matrix, with all of the we have the damaging effects that have to, with radiation next to your ear. Think about that. And then you want to plug Bluetooth inside of your head, right, with a couple of Bluetooth earbuds. It seems to me like you're asking, and when everybody was walking around, remember those Bluetooth headsets in one ear, for their cell phones, and that was the trend. It was a fad, and everybody walked around, and they would not ever take it out of their ear. They would have it on all the time. They get out, they go through the supermarket with it on, they go through the mall with it on, they'd walk down the street with it on, just in case what? You got a phone call, right? Or is it some kind of social
accessory?
Right. Some kind of social thing going on, some pop culture icon that you need to have plugged in to your ear to let everybody know your status, that you can afford a Bluetooth headset, right? So I got all of that, but with that, the availability and these standing waves of Bluetooth and Wi-Fi and microwave and cellular towers that are flying around, is there a possibility of control of the masses? Do you think that they could be feeding into our heads? I don't want to get too way out there, but the technology is there, right? That could they be using it for some form of mind control?
There is an invention. I think they call it audio spotlighting, and I've read about it. It's now a product. It's not just a theory. They can, whoever whoever has control of the technology, they can put a voice into your head. It's kind of like if you imagine somebody with a megaphone in a crowd and talks into the megaphone and the sound goes everywhere, okay? You could map it. Now imagine that you have a very advanced megaphone and you can narrow the beam so that it simply falls on a very small space where there's 6 people standing. And you can go further so it's one person. And you can beam audio spotlight. I think that's what they're calling it. I don't know if I've got the nomenclature exactly right, but it works. It's there.
Right. So you could walk around. I remember reading about audio spotlight and some of the companies that were behind it and the technology, where this is an application. Everybody, just listen to me for a second. You are in an arena or a large convention center. Let's just say a large square rectangular room full of 50,000 people. And you're walking around normally, but then you stop for a second, and you're looking, and then you can hear something. And that is audio that is beamed directly at you, and you would turn to somebody. Let's say, you turn to your friend that's standing next to you. Dude, this is pretty cool. It sounds good. What are you talking about? No, don't you hear that? No. What are you talking about? Well, they just said that this product does this, and this. Didn't you hear that? No, I didn't. That's because the person standing next to you 2 feet away is not in the projected narrow audio beam that is being pumped right above your head, and you don't know it. Now, that's an application of it, right? Or you could walk around shopping and you walk in front of a display and they know that you're there. So this sound would be projected onto you, but wouldn't disturb the others around you. Now that's the flaccid application. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Or suppose you're sitting in your car and you want this to happen. And you, flick a switch or something, and a voice says, turn left at the next intersection.
But nobody else hears it but you.
Only you.
That's scary.
And it's crystal clear.
Right.
It's not like you've got your cell phone and, whoever that automatic thing is talking and other people are talking in the car and you say, shut up because I got to know which freeway to get on. No, this is you alone. Take a left at the next intersection.
Or
that's also a flaccid application.
Or
yeah, right.
Shoot him in the head now. Right? It's just like, the voices in your head. The voices in your head. And in this case, they really are. Right? And this technology is frightening, and it's right here, right now. Okay, let's go to the phones. Thank you for holding. I didn't mean to keep you on hold so long. Say hi to Jon Rappoport.
Hey, John, this is Casper. Hi, Jimmy.
Hey, Casper, how are you?
I'm doing all right, getting ready for taking a relaxing day tomorrow. As you were talking earlier, I want two things, just real quick. Militarized police force, just look at the last few days, what's going on in Standing Rock. I mean, boy, that's frightening. They got, the armed vehicles out there, and they're shooting rubber bullets at people. It's a form of crowd control. It's like scary. One lady might have to have her arm amputated. It's really bad.
Yeah.
But I mean, you can look at it right there. But we were in the chat, and then the other caller brought up the Tower of Babel, and I posted something in the speaker chat, and everybody thought I should call in and ask John. John, do you think there's we don't hear we talk about aliens or UFOs or anything of that sort. Do you have anything input on that, or any theories or anything at all on that with alien involvement or anything at all with how things are headed?
John?
Well,
did we lose John?
I'm here.
Oh, okay. John, don't scare me like that, man.
Yeah. I haven't written very much at all, you're right, about that over the years. What I've been looking for, and I don't want to get a flood of emails about this, please, but I want to start off simple because I've read enough to know. Let's take one case. I always like to start in a new area. One case where we know, just stacked with evidence, really good evidence, of a UFO in a certain place at a certain time with professionals testifying, physical evidence as much as possible, and so on and so forth. Let's all put it together and let's have it there. And let's, this is just me because I'm not spending all my time looking into this, where this isn't an experimental aircraft that the U.S. has been hiding or anything like that. This is really something way, way different and advanced. My personal opinion is they exist. There's no question about it. I mean, look at the universe and its size. And the research keeps indicating it's getting bigger and bigger. I mean, they're finding out it's much bigger. So to me, it's preposterous to assume that we're alone. Where would that come from? So now we're talking about, okay, let's do a case study of one incident that's ironclad, where we're really talking about an advanced ship. As far as alien involvement and all of that, I've read a lot of material about it to say, yeah, I know that there's aliens who are influencing the culture, the planet, they have an agenda, so I mean, I can't go there because I just don't have what I would consider myself to be enough evidence. I'm not saying it doesn't exist, but why not? Why not? If various people were coming here, or whatever we want to call them, aliens, it seems to me that either they would want to do good things or bad things. I mean, they would either want to say, hey, we could help you out in certain ways, or they would say, hey, we want to control this whole operation. They really got something going here. It's kind of primitive, but we could intercede and do a number of things here with our technology that would put us in the driver's seat. So those things to me are not outlandish at all. I don't see them as outlandish, but that's as far as I could go.
Well, and Casper, stay right there. Stay right there. My outlook on this is multifaceted, but if I look at ourselves, John and Casper, if we found a planet that we're out exploring, and we find a planet that's Earth-like, but doesn't have us on it, right? What would we do? Would we plant ourselves there? Would we seed that planet with us, right? Would we seed the planet with just certain DNA of wildlife and plants and split, right? And just allow life to take off and proliferate on its own and take its own directions? Would we do that? And I would say that those possibilities are very, very real, because that's kind of like what we do, right? With our own land here. You go throw seeds and see if apple trees grow, right? And then come back in a couple of years and see what's up. That kind of thing, that kind of mindset. But what I do think we would do is we would go back and check up on things, right? Just to see how things are going. And is that possible here? Is that possible? I say that is a very, very, very possible reality. And when we're dealing with millions and millions, if not billion, 4.5 billion years here on Earth, 3.5 billion of it's been pretty nice here. The first billion years, it was pretty hot and nasty and volcanic and whatever. But as things started to settle down and carbon dioxide and oxygen balanced itself out and water settled down and the oceans were here, and things started to grow, and then, over the last 3 billion years, there's no telling how many times that we could have been visited and possibly kick-started. And then another drive-by that would have happened maybe thousands of times, to check up on things here. And maybe, again, to flip it back around, we would go back to those planets that we seeded life on and maybe checked up on things. And so now maybe there's Stone Age man there. There's some kind of primitive man. Would we show him how to handle fire, right? Will we kickstart that? Would we show him certain things and then leave because you don't want to maybe interrupt the flow? But would we do that? And I think that we would, because we do that here. We like to teach and we like to show different cultures things, and we like to teach children, and that's where my mindset is with that. I look at it as, what do we do here? how do we act and what do we do? Well, that's my take on it. And I just don't think it's very far from reality. I don't.
It certainly makes sense to me, what you're saying, Jimmy. You look, you seed, maybe you colonize to a small degree. You have on-site people. We do that all the time.
Sure.
I mean, the CIA has a world map. They're big on this kind of thing. You know, they catalog everything all over the planet. What for? What are they doing with that? That wasn't really part of their mandate when they were created. And thou shalt go forth and map the entire planet down to a gnat's behind? No. But it's an impulse. Control, in that case, of course, is a big part of it. And you got to factor that in, too. But, yeah, it's okay. Let's see what's there. Let's find out everything we can about it, and let's do something. Let's not just leave it alone. So if that's a universal impulse, then it makes a lot of sense to me that it would have happened here many times. Many times.
Yeah, it's the only way to really look at it. And Casper, thank you for the phone call, man. Great question. Great question. Thank you so much. What are you doing special for Thanksgiving tomorrow? Any dish on the table that stands out?
I think we're going to keep it pretty simple. Oh, are you talking to Casper?
Yeah, I'm talking to Casper, John.
Okay, excuse me, Casper. I was busting in here.
I got the crock pot going with some pork in it, potatoes, carrots, and onion.
Oh, there you go. He's going pork. He's going pork. Thank you so much, Casper, and have a great day tomorrow, my friend.
You too. All right, bye.
Now, and John, the Standing Rock situation, have you been following it?
A little bit. I've been really tied up in some other things, so I don't know all the details, but it sounds pretty horrible to me.
Yeah, it's the lack of real-time media coverage. I don't know if it's because the media is neglecting it on purpose, or if the media doesn't have access to it. I don't know which side of it, but the information out there is just so minimal. I don't understand, and it is a situation that needs to be covered, in my opinion, but there just isn't anything out there.
Well, people are reporting from the scene. I think media could have access if they wanted to, much greater than they've got. I just think they want to ignore it. You know, there's another side to this whole thing. There's kind of a thread that's woven through what we're talking about here. On the other side of things, we've got, what is it now, 5 shootings of police?
Yes.
By other people that are happening in different parts of the country. This is now revving up again. So look at it this way. A squeeze play, a pincer operation. On the one hand, you've got police forces being jacked up and militarized to their teeth, which tends to provoke them to do things with all this equipment that they absolutely shouldn't be doing. And then on the other hand, you've got these shootings of police. This is the kind of chaos that we were talking about earlier. You get both of these things going at the same time. And then people become very upset, extremely upset. And what do most of those people want at that point when they're so afraid? Bring in the order. We don't care what it looks like. Make the scene secure. Protect us. Whatever you have to do, we don't even want to know about it. Just make it happen. And that's what happens. Now you get a new level of control over the entire society. That's what you get. That's what's happening.
Did you ever listen to Bill Cooper back in the day?
No. I read a little bit of what he wrote. I talked to him once. I had a very unfriendly phone call with him.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. What happened?
I don't know why. I'd never met the man before. I wrote a book on the Oklahoma City bombing, And I think at the time, this was many moons ago, that I wanted to ask him a few questions. And it just didn't work out. It was,
What?
I mean, it was as if you woke somebody up in a really bad mood.
Right.
And that's what you got. And I said, cheerio, pal. That's fine. That's fine. And I assumed, okay, maybe he was in a really momentarily bad mood. I have no idea. But that was the extent of my communication with him. I know that he wrote a great deal. And I also know that he was subjected to a lot of attack from people who said that he was way off base and he was wrong. And, there was one of those scenes where, for whatever reason, it seemed like he was in the middle of tremendous controversy, not just between him and a couple of other people, but lots of people.
Right.
I don't know the origin or the source of it, but there was talk about chaos. There seemed to be a lot of chaos around that. And I don't know what the reason for it was, but it was at a time, I can tell you that, in the 1990s, when there was a lot of that going around, because the internet really hadn't taken off at all. So the way of communicating, I mean, I don't know if people remember this. I know what I used to do, which was I would give lectures and there were people there, a group, and they would tape and sell the cassettes, and the cassettes would get around and people would write me letters. I mean, it was a really long distance, and I wrote a few books, and there was a lot of room, shall we say, for misinterpretation and misunderstanding. And I got some of that. I got into it with a few people. It wasn't like now where, you post it, it's there, you do it again, you do it again, you do it. Nothing like that at all. It was really kind of murky. Everything was murky at the time.
Yeah, for me, when it comes to Bill, the reason why I looked up to him and still do is that, he just spoke his mind. And all he would ask for people is, don't believe him. Don't do it. Don't believe him. Just go and listen and go do your own research. And that kind of outlook, no matter how out your views are or your theories are, and for him, he touched upon so many different things. But he was also a great historian, too, as well. He really knew his subject, going back to ancient Egypt and beyond. He really knew his stuff. But that view, just, be free, don't be constrained, and speak your own mind. And that to me was what he did really, really well. Some of his stuff, it was completely outlandish. It was way, way out there. Some of his stuff played out. That was the other part, that he was spot on the money on some things that were years before anybody else took notice on these subjects. And he turned out to be right on the money. But anyway, keep doing what you're doing, John. Don't stop. Keep speaking your mind. Have a great Thanksgiving tomorrow, and don't ever change. Thank you so much for everything that you do and taking the time tonight on this evening that you could be spending it with your wife and your family. You spent it here with us. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jimmy, as always. It's always great to be here. Fantastic. And thank you, audience. I really enjoyed all the phone calls.
Yep. And, hey, go blow V8 at the table tomorrow.
It's a deal.
You got it. Thank you so much, John. Be safe.
You too, Jimmy.
Jon Rappoport, everybody. Thank you so much. Very special Fader night on this Wednesday. Phone lines are open. If you are on hold, I will get to you right after the break. 323-825-5045. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. I'll be right back.
Vivica Fox here, and you are listening to my boy, Jimmy Church, on JimmyChurchRadio.com.
Despite popular opinion,
reading a book will not make you smarter.
But listening to Jimmy Church will.
Does your basement or crawl space have a damp, musty smell? Well, watch out! That's a sign of too much moisture and not enough ventilation. And that can mean increased mold growth and the buildup of harmful toxins and gases. Don't bother with a dehumidifier. It just circulates the same unhealthy air. Now there's a better way to remove these dangers and odors. It's with the computerized Wave Moisture Control Unit that reduces moisture and expels pollutants.
We replaced our old dehumidifier with the Wave unit, and in only 3 weeks, our basement is dry and the musty smell is gone.
Wave units require no maintenance, no buckets of water or filters, and costs only pennies a day to run. Breathe better, live healthier with an affordable, no-maintenance Wave unit. Call 888-618-WAVE, 888-618-WAVE, or visit mydryhome.com, mydryhome.com.
Ride the wave. Wave Home Solutions for a healthy, comfortable home.
What's up, Fadernauts? Studio Dome loves Fade to Black and the F2B audience so much that they have put together the ultimate stereo Bluetooth system. They've done it just for you. Man, check this out. The Studio Dome SBB2 stereo system is here. It's featuring 2 Studio Boombox 2 SBB2 wireless Bluetooth speakers, packed in its own custom hardshell case. This Studio Dome system features the very latest in stereo Bluetooth technology. The 2 full-range boomboxes are in true wireless stereo. You've got to hear this. It's amazing. It's just $129, and use the promo code JCRTWS, and you'll also get free shipping. It's simple. Just go to jimmychurchradio.com, click on the Studio Dome banner. Go Beckley Teppy.
Erica, Brittany, Gabby, and you're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com.
It's not a lifestyle we chose. We were born this way. KGRARadio.com.
This is KJCR at JimmyChurchRadio.com.
Welcome back and happy Thanksgiving, everyone, all of you Fadernauts. Thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight. Got to thank Jon Rappoport, manning the phones with me for a couple of hours. Absolutely fantastic time. Thank you so much, John. Now go and do what you do best, man. Go blow V8. Yeah, that's what I would do. All right. So funny because after John left, the phones went blank. I was like, wait, whoa. I was looking to make a nice exit, take, 10, 15 phone calls on the way out. I was like, what am I, man? Chopped liver? All right. But they're back. I get it. 323-825-5045. If you're on hold, stay right there. Ancient inscriptions show life once flourished in Jordan's Black Desert. Now, go to our Facebook page. Look at these pictures. Absolutely amazing. Thousands of inscriptions and petroglyphs dating back to around 2,000 years have been discovered in the Jebel Korma region of Jordan's Black Desert. They tell of a time of when the now desolate landscape today, it looks like Mars, was teeming with life. The inscriptions are written in Sapphic, an alphabetic script used by the people who lived in this part of Syria, Jordan, and Arabia back in ancient times. Research is ongoing, but the archaeologists are saying that the finds indicate that around 2,000 years ago, Jebel Kerma had trees, wildlife, and a sizable human population. You've got to check out these pictures, man. Thousands. When I say thousands, I mean thousands of petroglyphs and inscriptions. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Who's calling? You're live.
Hi, this is Kendra.
Hi, Kendra. How are you?
I'm great. I'm a first-time caller. I'm Kendra Gonzalez in Ventura, just up the road. a longtime listener, first-time caller. Love the show. Listen to it pretty much every night. And I'm calling up for a couple things. One, a call to action for FADERNIGHT, and two, a question.
Okay.
So my call to action to FADERNIGHT is tomorrow on Thanksgiving, and in particular in support of Standing Rock and all of our First Nations and the assault on indigenous rights and culture is just horrific. 400 Native First Nation peoples have been arrested. The best news source I'm finding is Democracy Now! They cover it at least every third day, what's going on.
Okay.
They are using horrible tactics that are completely unconstitutional and immoral. And so my call to action, my call out for FADERNIGHT is to support Standing Rock in any way you can. Obviously, getting there for Thanksgiving is probably not going to happen, but they're in such need right now of attorneys. They're in need of supplies. And so we need to support our First Nations above, not above, but in addition to all the other quote-unquote minorities that we have genocided in this country. So that's my call to action for FADERNIGHT, to look into what they can do to support and grow the numbers and grow the support there for our Native First Nation brothers and sisters. And my question is that I know you're not a political show, though you did go there a few times during the election. My question is, why is the Green Party, which I've been a member of since 1994, the largest political body on the planet, fastest growing political body on the planet, and we don't take corporate dollars or super PAC money, and we're either not talked about or we're laughed at, like, oh, cute little, third party over there, you don't have any power. So my question is, if the Green Party, myself, or a rep sometime in the future could actually be on the show and be questioned about our policies, our platform, our history, and the future that we would like to see happen. So that's my question to you, Jimmy.
Well, Kendra, and thank you for the phone call. And I don't know why. I'll answer both here in just as I'll get to both. The first part, I don't understand why the Standing Rock situation is completely invisible to the mass media. I don't understand there is an agenda going on there. There is. There's no question about it. There's somebody is being told, you go into your news director, okay, man, I'd like to go out to Standing Rock, and I need some plane tickets, and I want to go out there. I need a crew to go out there with me. We got to cover what's going on. No, I think you need to go and cover the art fair that's going on this Sunday in downtown. No, I want to go to Standing Rock. No, I think our resources are better. Something like that is going on because I'm sure that there are plenty of journalists, plenty of news crews, plenty of people around the country in the thousands that would like to go to Standing Rock and cover this, and it should be covered. And it's not. The directive is coming down from above. Now, the question is, what is the agenda? Now, there's lots of big money that's involved here. There's that. We have land rights that are being violated by big money. So you have that, and then you've got to go behind that. You got to continue going backwards. Who are the stockholders? Where's the why is it to me, why is it out of the question to either not do it or to move it? Right? That's the thing. And the when you go outside of it, wasn't it on when there was a public land issue that didn't involve Standing Rock where they said no? Well, that was okay. But when it comes to Standing Rock and they say no, they don't have a right to say no. Other people did, right? Am I wrong in this viewpoint?
Not at all. It's just another obvious indication of racism, of alienism, against the other, and to treat our First Nations who, basically 25 million were genocided over about a 400-year period. It took a long time, but, so to continue to dishonor the elders, these are people having drum circles. These are grandmothers, and they're not being violent. I saw on CNN literally this morning, it made me want to hurl, that the protesters, these are not protesters, they are water protectors, they are land protectors, they are future generation protectors. And they were called protesters that they got violent, and that's why these military, you look at these people, they look like they are in Syria, the way they're dressed. They're putting mace, into the water. They were spraying, this is freezing temperature. They're spraying people down at 3 a.m. when it's like sub-zero in North Dakota. People are getting hypothermia, and they are hitting people direct in the face, point blank, with rubber bullets. Elderly women, young people. These are not, people that are armed. They don't have a single gun. But the police are 400 strong, and they have assault rifles. They have Hummers. They have tanks, and they are literally just and. They have no right to be there. This land belongs to these people
I get that
have been there for
Kendra,
700 years.
Well,
it's just disgusting.
Okay, it is. But let me ask you this. This is, and I want you to take this the right way and the wrong way. Okay, do both for me. Okay, will you do that?
I can do that.
Okay, good. Is there? I understand that this may be a sacred area, right underneath their feet, right? Okay, so I get that. Is there an area there that isn't sacred where this wouldn't matter?
No, where Standing Rock is exactly the point of confluence of that the treaty rights of the First Nations have been violated time and time again.
No, I understand.
They're actually doing a dig under a part of the river that's unpermitted, so they're doing it illegally.
Well, no,
and
Kendra,
half of
Kendra,
people fighting against the First Nations are mercenaries, like from Blackwater. These are private contractors, and they're saying this is our private land, and it is not.
That's not. Yeah, I understand, Kendra. I understand that. I fully understand that and support that. But that wasn't my question. I understand that area is safe, but is there an area around there that isn't sacred that they could move this around 50 miles in the other direction, and then we're not dealing with a sacred issue? I'll give you an example where you have all of this reservation and sacred land that has been given to them, and deservedly so. We should give them the whole country, if you ask me, but we can't. But certainly casinos have been built on reservation land that's not sacred, right? So, do you understand what I'm saying? Is there an area that you can build on that is not sacred, and we could and we could hopefully make both sides happy? Is that possible?
There might be some possibilities there. However, here's the issue, is that the way the pipeline has to be built, it has to cross the Missouri River. And that is where environmental fears come into play, because these people who are building this pipeline and pipelines ongoing are leaking and exploding and contaminating waters. The drinking water of this river downriver is 3 million and over residents that are native and non-native. So it's an environmental bomb ready to go off when we don't even freaking need the stuff.
Well, yeah, that's probably true too as well. But is it? You're making two really good points here. One, that it's on sacred land, and the second, that it's an environmental issue. So, are you saying that it is both? I mean, is the environmental issue interfering with the sacred land area too as well? You know, I'm trying to figure out.
Coalition building going on there. Environmental people, you know, are working with the First Nation peoples. This is the first time in generations this many Native. There are something like 70 or 80 different nations from South America, Australia. I mean, they're coming in from all over the world. The problem right now is that it's so freaking freezing cold and it's outside. You know, it's physically challenging for some people, especially when they're spraying people with water and creating sub-zero temperatures, and they're mixing in not mace. What's the stuff they spray at people, at protesters? I can't think of the word.
Pepper spray.
Basically putting toxins into the water they're spraying the people with.
Right.
They've been sticking dogs on them, and they're hitting them point blank in the face. One woman will probably have to have her arm amputated.
Yeah, I've seen it.
Another person had a heart attack, an elder. These are people who are doing drum circles and praying and meditating and communing, and they're being attacked viciously. 400 or 500 cops.
Have you been out there?
No,
Have you been out there? Have you been out there yourself?
I have not. I've been seeing a lot of real video coverage, real boots on the ground, Democracy Now!, RT, watching the Hawks. So I go. Those are your show and Linda Moulton Howe and Dolan and all of the paranormal folks in this whole circle, but also just as a community activist over the years working on peace, social justice, environmental sanity, and economic issues and all of that. You know, I look at all this coalition, building that's going on with indigenous rights and protecting for the future generations. We don't need this toxic stuff. If we invested what we're doing with all the money we're spending on 54% of our discretionary budget going to making war and learning how to better kill people, instead working on solar, on wind, on geothermal, on conservation, on efficiency, on gray water, and on and on and on. And that's why I'm a green, and that's why I work on these issues, because if we didn't have any other choices, that would be one thing. We have so many other choices, and it makes me so sick when these people are toxifying our world for the future, and we have these people who have been here for thousands of years trying to protect the water, protect the land, and protect the future.
Yeah.
And it's just, the mainstream is shutting it out, unless to say that the protesters, or the water protectors, as they should rightfully be called in our First Nations, which we should be honoring, are being basically, it's like genocide, our own genocide going on right here in a very micro scale. But it's going to keep blowing up. If they keep doing what they're doing, I think folks from all over the world, as it warms up, will gather, and we'll have an Occupy that will, make the last Occupy look like, a tea party.
Yeah, right. Well, Kendra, thank you for the phone call. The second part is, the reason why I don't do politics is I'm going to be kind of direct, but I also want to be a little nonchalant about it too as well. The reason why I don't is because my audience is better united than divided. And so if I turn around and start speaking about these issues that will divide my audience like it has divided this country, then I take a step backwards. I take a step backwards. And I want to unite. I don't want to divide everybody. I don't want to. I just don't want that. And so if I had somebody on, red, blue, or green, now I've got to suddenly give equal voice to everybody else on a subject that really is not a good one for this audience, because it divides everybody up. And the next thing you know, this show spins off into another direction. I like to have fun. I like to have fun. I would much rather talk about little green men than the Green Party, right? make
I
sense?
understand. But let me just, I know you have other calls coming in. Let me close this out by saying, all I'm saying is that even on your show, non-political or not, Trump and Clinton come up. Jill Stein and the Jamil Baraka Green Party never come up, and we exist as a political party in this country and in the world, and in California in particular is half of the national Green vote. So we're here, and I hear over and over so many times progressive people saying, we need a progressive movement, we need a third party, and I'm like, we're here.
It's not
right
that,
here,
Kendra.
and we're not corruptible because we don't take that corporate money or that super PAC money. We just want to be a part of the conversation because we're, like I said, largest political body on the planet and fastest growing, but we're very local, very much decentralization and non-corruptible. And our policies are about the future and about all that good stuff, like getting off the grid, getting off these toxins, getting out of these wars.
Okay.
People, planet, and peace over profit. That's basically it. So, I would love to come back on the show, and if you wanted to ask me questions about the Green Party, since 1994 registered Green, and I was actually just a staffer with the Stein campaign for the Green Party for president, so I could answer a lot of questions, but that could come another time. A happy Thanksgiving and happy Indigenous First Nations Honoring Day tomorrow, if we can all do that in some way, shape, or form, even if it's just meditating on it and putting those good vibes out there, or doing something physical. However we can honor our First Nations, I think, is really key.
Thank you so much, Kendra, and have a great, happy Thanksgiving tomorrow. Thank you so much.
Love the show. I'm going to keep calling now.
Okay, there you go. Thank you, Kendra.
Thank you so much.
All right. My response, I tried to get it in. My response, and Kendra, if you're listening right now, my response is the reason why the Green Party, and it's certainly this last election cycle, was invisible, because you guys didn't have a good candidate. And Jill Stein is not. There are, if you guys had somebody incredible up there, then it would be a different story. But this time around, it just wasn't there for you guys. So there you go. All right. Wow. Well, I just gave the Green Party nearly 15 minutes on the show, and I didn't get a word in edgewise. So there you go. All right. Thank you for the phone call, Kendra. And there's no doubt, I want to go back and address the main issue for me when it comes to Standing Rock. All right? The cities outside of the reservation there, outside of the sacred lands, where the pipeline was originally supposed to go, said no. Okay? They said no. So they rerouted it across Indian land. And the Indians said no. But that didn't stop them. So on one side of the tracks, it wasn't okay. But on this side of the tracks, where it's still not okay, but you're going to do it anyway, are these voices unequal here? Just maybe, this thing shouldn't get built. All right? Now, there is some big money that's involved here that is behind all of this. And I don't know what the issue is. But, no, I know what the issue is. But I don't know what the issue is about not being able to get this done, not on Indian land. If that is the case, move that sucker north, go around it, and those cities that said no originally, build it through there, I guess. Or don't build it at all. All right? Or go underground. Go underground. I don't know. The one thing that I'm going to disagree with Kendra about, or anybody else, there are plenty of pipelines, millions of them, millions of pipes all around that don't have issues. And I am talking about the sewage system that is in your town, in your city. You don't have issues with that. That can run through your property, around your property, under your house, and around. You don't have issues with that. The water system, the natural gas that's running to your house so you could run your stove. You don't have issues with that. Why? Because it's generally safe. There's plenty of oil being run all over this world through pipeline where there's no leakage. So that part of it, I'm not buying into. Contamination of this and that. No. When you drive your car today to go grocery shopping for Thanksgiving tomorrow, you're pretty thankful about the pipes and the pipelines and everything else that is getting gas into your car. That's not, no, I don't have, no, there's no issue. The issue that I have is that the original city said no. They rerouted that pipeline over Indian land and don't give those Indians the same rights at Standing Rock that they afforded to the cities that said no. That I have issue with. And that's an obvious thing that is standing right in front of all of us. All right? That's my take on it. That's my take. Where am I? Oh, the big news. The big news. The European Space Agency's Mars probe crashed on the planet's surface as a result of a 1-second technical glitch. That's right. They announced it today. The Schiaparelli crashed while descending onto the red planet back on October 19th. I reported about it on this show. The ESA's investigation into the crash revealed that the probe thought it was closer to the surface of Mars than it was for 1 second, causing the parachute and the landing rockets to prematurely deploy at an altitude of 3.7 kilometers. The probe then fell to Mars and crashed on the surface. My thing is this. Dudes, how come we can't figure it out? How come we can't figure it out? Mars's atmosphere. How come we can't figure it out? Allegedly. How come? It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Some things we land, some things we don't. Allegedly. Some things work when they get there, some don't. Allegedly. How come we can't figure it out? I don't understand. It doesn't make sense. This probe was sent there to find life on Mars. And it crashes. Think about that. Think about that. I am completely perplexed. Now, just weeks after its debut, the Navy's most badass advanced destroyer, the USS Zumwalt, has been put out of action due to, well, we don't know. The problems occurred while it was crossing the Panama Canal. Now, the Navy commander, Ryan Perry, said today, the timeline for repairs is being determined now. He noted that the commander of the U.S. Third Fleet, Vice Admiral Nora Tyson, directed the ship to remain at the ex-naval station Rodman in Panama. Now, I got to tell you, Rodman was right next to where I lived, down in the Canal Zone. I used to watch submarines parked there. They would have destroyers and other things parked at Rodman. It's right there. One of the cool things for everybody that's crossing the bridge down there in the avenue and rolling into Panama gets to see the Zumwalt parked right there for the world to see. And I think it is totally, totally cool. I wish I was down in Panama right now. The Zumwalt. $4.5 billion each. There you go. Everybody have a great Thanksgiving tomorrow. Be safe, be well. Hang out with your friends, your family. Enjoy your day off. Enjoy your turkey. And enjoy your cornbread. Thank you, Jon Rappoport. Thank you so much tonight. Thank you to everybody that phoned home. Fade to Black's executive producers, Rita Kamarian. Shows produced by Hilton J. Paul, Mark D. Kovar, LJ3, Renee, Mark Dunbar, Jonas. Thank you, Dennis. Thank you, Bob. Announcers are Steve Harder, Gene Vitoa, Mark D. Kovar, Faded by Dale. Webmasters, Drew the Geek. Music, Doug Aldrich. Intro, Spaceboy, SpaceboyMusic.com. Fade to Black is produced by KJCR for the Game Changer Network. Syndication is KGRA, The Planet. This broadcast is owned and copyrighted 2016 by Fade to Black and the Game Changer Network. It cannot be rebroadcast, downloaded, copied, or used anywhere in the known universe without written permission from Fade to Black or the Game Changer Network. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Everybody have a happy Thanksgiving. Be safe. Go Beckley Tepe.